I am very happy to announce to everyone that the PSIM in 2022, we have a Memorandum of Understanding with the Young Moon with regards for collaboration in technology transfer, financial funding of project, research and development. So this will be a big opportunity for all our members all over the Philippines about projects on water and wastewater, energy, solid waste, even in the mining industry, every project that has some mechanical systems that we need to protect our environment and for our energy. Now, I'm going to talk about the regulatory Philippine Clean Water Act. In the Philippines, we have several rules and regulation, laws, rules and regulation that we need to comply in order to protect our environment. The regulatory agency that is concerned on this and in the implementation and the regulation and monitoring is the Department of Environment and Natural Resources as per the Executive Order 196, wherein the different bureau agencies were organized into one. The Bureau of Mines, the Bureau of Forestry, the National Pollution Control Commission, the Bureau of Lands, and the Research and Development. And the wildlife areas also. When it comes to Clean Water Act, there is a law that guide and regulate in the regulation and compliance of the regulated treated effluent. This is the Philippine Clean Water Act or the Republic Act 9275. All commercial establishment, industrial plants are required to comply the different effluent regulations. All wastewater that's being produced in the operation, if it is a mining industry, if it is a heavy industry, even in the commercial buildings, there is a law that regulates us what are those parameters that we need to comply. If it is a domestic wastewater, like in the commercial buildings, right now, there are so many buildings now all over the Philippines, not only in the Metro Manila, but also in some big cities all over the Philippines. And these are being regulated by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources that we need to comply. There is a new effluent regulation as per the Inner Administrative Order 2016-08. There are different parameters like the nitrate, the phosphate, the ammonia, the surfactants. These are the new parameters that are being regulated to comply because before the Administrative Order number 35, nitrate, phosphate, ammonia are not part of the parameters that we need to comply. It's only BOD, COD, TSS, fats, oil, and grease, but now because the government is very strict that there will be no eutrophication in all water bodies of the Philippines. Because if there is a high nutrients content of the water bodies, these nutrients are coming from the pollutants. If there is a high source of nitrate, a high source of pollutant or of ammonia, phosphate, this will cause of high algae. And this will be a high impact on the water body. There will be a cause of eutrophication that will cause on the depletion of oxygen in the water bodies. So that's why this is a very, very important, stringent parameter that the government, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, has strictly implemented with the approval of DNR Administrative Order number 2016-08 in 2016. So, this is a big opportunity also for us as mechanical engineers because there is a law that is being required that all establishments producing wastewater should comply, should establish, should have an engineering intervention to comply the effluent regulation to treat our wastewater. That's only the wastewater. What about the air? Clean Air Act. For the commercial establishment, we are required to control our air pollutant coming into the atmosphere. So even if it is a generator sets, we are being required to secure a permit to operate for the gensets. But there is a new memorandum circular issued by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources that if it is a standby units, generator sets, it is now as long as in an annual operation of the gensets, you will not have an operation as high, more than 200 kilowatt, you are no longer required to submit a smoke emission test. So they will only be monitoring, they will consider only for emergency operation of your genset. The smoke emission test of the pollutant on the TSP, particulate matters, and the carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide. But if you are a manufacturing plant, there are a lot of stringent pollutant parameters that still the DNR are regulating, especially if it is a heavy industry, especially if it is in the mining industry. If it is in the mining industry, it's not only about the air pollutant that you are operating mechanical equipment there, but also the Republic Act 6969 or the Toxic and Hazardous Waste Management Act that is now being regulated, that we need to control all waste, hazardous waste that you produce in your operation of your facilities. In the commercial establishment, even the busted fluorescent lamps is already considered as hazardous waste because of the mercury. Even the used oil, the used cooking oil in the food tenants, in the restaurants, you cannot dispose that in an ordinary way because it is already considered as hazardous waste. So we need to secure a third party, DNR hazardous waste trader and transporter. So if you are an establishment, you need to secure a DNR generator, hazardous generator ID, and you have to identify what are those hazardous waste that you produce in your operation of your establishment. You need to apply at the DNR. If there is a new building, new establishment, new development, new industry to be constructed, to be developed, we are required to secure an environmental compliance certificate and submit an environmental impact statement study to secure the environmental compliance certificate. The ECC is not a permit, but this is a planning tool. This will be the basis as a guide for the several other environment laws, rules, and regulations that we need to comply. The ECC has a set of conditions that we need to comply. One of the conditions is to secure a permit to operate for your air pollution facilities and to secure a discharge permit of your wastewater producing facilities and treatment, and to secure a DNR hazardous generator ID, actually all the environmental permits. But the solid waste management is part of the law in the Department of Environment and Natural Resources that was devolved to the local government unit. So it is the local government unit that is regulating when it comes to monitoring, when it comes to the solid waste management of your facilities. But this is part of the condition of the ECC. In the ECC, it is being stated in the condition that you have to have a proper solid waste management of your solid waste being produced in your facilities. So even if it is already devolved to the local government unit, if your facilities does not have a proper management of your solid waste, you will be receiving a penalty with the violation of Presidential Decree 1586 or the Environmental Impact Statement Law of the Philippines, which the penalty is 50,000 pesos per violation of the condition. In the Philippine Clean Water Act, the violation now, the government is imposing is 23,200 per day. So if you fail in effluent monitoring of the DNR or the LLDA, even if the parameter is only BOD, even if it's only TSS, or even only one fecal coliform, you will be imposed a penalty of 23,500 starting on the day that you failed in the effluent regulation, and it will end on the day that the DNR will come back to you and get a sample and it passed in the laboratory analysis. But in the Philippine Clean Air Act, the penalty also is 10,000 pesos per day, minimum up to 100,000 pesos per day, maximum. And if you have not secured any of these permits, we will be imposed a penalty of 10,000 pesos per year. If your permits are not approved or already lapsed, are not valid, you will be imposed a penalty of 10,000 pesos per year. It is very much cheaper to comply the law than to pay the penalty, because the penalty is like a taximeter every day. This is part of the regulation that is now being implemented by the government in order for us to help in the protection of our environment. And our PSIM has a big role. Our members, the mechanical engineers, you are all connected in several different stakeholders. You have a role on how we will comply the law. Maybe you are in the operation, in the engineering department, how you will maintain all those equipment, because all compliance of the law needs the mechanical system, needs the mechanical engineers, because you cannot comply all those facilities without the intervention of the mechanical engineers. These are all mechanical systems, but there are some solutions that are chemicals. But when it is chemicals, there is another problem that is produced, because, for example, if you are dosing some chemicals to reduce the parameter, it will have a chemical residual at the end, another violation in Republic Act 6969. So it is much better to comply in the mechanical systems. Thank you.